What's up, guys?
Back with another Fair Shake review. And we talking about Zhavia's 17. You can find it by looking up Zhavia Ward. She is now using her last name, but on the cover you're still just gonna see first name Zhavia. And anyway, Project 17, man. Zhavia, man, she's an artist that I kind of took a small interest in when the first premiered. I wasn't really watching the show, but I did watch a couple of recaps, and I was like, oh, this Zhavia chick is kind of interesting. Like, she's this bright girl. She's got the dreads, and she's kind of singing a lot of reggae stuff, but she's also doing kind of R&B stuff. Her voice, her vocal performance is interesting. Like, and that's the thing that kind of stuck into my head. It's just like, you just seem interesting, especially since you always get a kind of like twinkle, like a tinge in your heart whenever you see a white girl with dreads, and you're just like, is this chick appropriating or appreciating? And then, you know, looking further into her and listening to interviews and stuff like that, I was just like, oh, okay, appreciating. And then I ended up hearing 100 Ways. It ended up being my playlist at work, so I got to hear it a whole bunch of times. And the main thing is, I was just like, yo, this track is kind of hype, but why in the world does it start kind of backwards with I don't even moonwalk, I don't believe in going backwards? It's just like, wait, you started off with I don't even moonwalk. That's the first thing you hear, and you're just like, wait, where did that come from? And then she explains it afterward, but still, it just seems like normally you would have it the other way around. I don't believe in going backwards, I don't even moonwalk. But for the sake of the rhyme, it's the other way around. And I guess it still intrigues the listener just like it did me. So it worked. But anyway, that's beside the point. I heard that song and I was like, yo, she seems like she's kind of dope. And eventually she had another single, Candlelight, that came out. I didn't really listen to it then. I only listened to it in context of this EP. So I was heavily looking forward to it, and eventually it came out and I was like, oh snap, I forgot this chick is really young. She's just now turning 17. So we start off with 17, and even some of this stuff was covered in the interviews, but 17 is a slightly mid-tempo, upbeat track that kind of chronicles all the struggles that she went through, trying to get to the point that she is now, at the age of 17. You know, growing up somewhat poor, you know, growing up in a divided household, eventually her mom having to quit her jobs just to allow Zhavia to go onto the floor and compete, and then her not, you know, even winning, but then somehow it working out through sponsorships, and also eventually getting the deal that worked for her needs, and now her finally being able to release her own full-length project as a full-on songwriter and singer. And yeah, it's dope. So Deep Down also kind of chronicles that feeling of knowing that deep down she knew she was gonna make it. And this one's got a really cool soulful sample type beat, and she's just vibing, a really good vibe, and really just knowing that she was going to make it somehow, because she knew music was her passion, and that deep down, no matter what happened, she was going to make that dream come true, and it did happen to happen. Then Candlelight, man, really a song about trying to keep that fire going. You know, you can't allow that fire to go out, no matter the feelings that you have, no matter the depression that you might end up going through, out your struggles. You still have to keep strong, and don't let your candlelight go out, because that is everything. Can't let the light go. So that one's a slower track that I dig, but it's still one I'm able to skip. But not a bad track at all. All I Am, yo. So I knew somehow Zhavia was gonna get in that reggae bag, and she got to do it with Skip Marley. And the thing is, yo, this song is really good. It's really good. It's kind of my favorite track on the whole project. And this was just kind of like a cool love song. And both artists play off each other very well, and it's a nice track that you could definitely put on at the party or just listen to at home. I digs it. Then we get to Easy, another kind of love track that's a little bit on the slower side, but not a straight up ballad. And it's just kind of a cool, breezy feeling, just like the way Easy kind of connotates, you know? So definitely a good track that I like to jam out to. And in 100 Ways, just like I mentioned before when I first heard it, it's just freaking hype. And that song's just kind of like all about her perseverance, and how no matter what she goes through, no matter how many ways you try to shut her down, she's got another way to try and work around that issue to make sure what she needs to get done gets done. And yo, her style is like a mix of a lot of contemporary R&B, along with a little bit of reggae, and then a small hint of pop in a couple of tracks. But she's definitely more so on the R&B artist side of things. And her voice, man, is definitely still a very intriguing thing, because her tone is so different. I like, before I was going to do this review, I tried to rack my brain over how I could compare her vocal tone, and I was just like, and like some of the things that came across my mind was just like, kind of imagine if like if John Legend was a female, or kind of like a mix of maybe of like the lower tones of like a Jennifer Hudson. But the thing is, she could also hit a few high notes as well. And the thing is, I even noticed that like 100 Ways even kind of shows a little bit of that, because she ends up going like hitting some of her lowest notes on that song. You would never want to get a, it's just like down. It's like, that's definitely like chest voice for her. I mean, it's like throat voice for me. Sorry, I'm getting kind of technical in here, but still, it's very interesting. But then she's also hitting notes like like about like there, and I was like, okay, she's actually got a bit of a range. But her tone is very interesting, because a lot of her stuff is kind of covered, yet it's a very covered tone on a lot of stuff, and she like swallows some of those notes as well. And then there's others where it's somewhat nasal too. So it's just like it's the weirdest mix of tones whenever she's singing, but she's able to kind of pull it off. It's very interesting. But anyway, I would say, if you like, let's see, who could I compare it to? Sheesh. Oh man. I don't even know who like whose music I could straight off, just off the top of my head, compare her to. Because the main thing I was trying to focus on beforehand was just trying to figure how I could compare her voice to. But style, I would just say if you dig contemporary R&B, especially with some hip hop leanings as well, I would check it out. Definitely not like your R&B soul side. You definitely want to go more the hip hop R&B side of things, with some crosses of reggae and, like I said before, a very smallest hint of pop in there. But this is just a quick little EP. Looking forward to what she's able to do with a full-length album. And see where else she decides to explore, because in interviews she has mentioned that she's trying to explore some of other genres as well. So I'm curious to see how she'll pull it off. But if it's more of this stuff, I would be happily content. And I know that is kind of redundant to say happily content, but yeah. That's it for me. Much love, peace.